Republican Congressman Roger Williams of Arlington, thank you so much. Welcome back to Eye on Politics.
It's good to see you. Good to be back, yeah.
Good to see you. So you assembled a roundtable as part of being chairman of the House Committee on Small Business, who are involved in the Arlington Grand Prix this weekend. Why was that important to you, and what were your takeaways?
Well, it was important that, from my standpoint, that we talk about how when you have a major event like the Grand Prix come in, how many small businesses benefit from it. We had hotels, we had a flower shop, we had people that are job creators in this meeting on how they benefit by the 3 or 4 days of this great race. How money trickles down, and you know, it's capitalism, it's entrepreneurship, and people, when they get more money, they spend more money, and they spend it right here in Texas, we hope.
And FIFA is coming up this summer. Are they also going to benefit from
Well, all the small businesses will. One thing about Arlington, it's special. I mean, with the Cowboys and the Rangers, and you got the soccer, the FIFA coming, and you got the Grand Prix, everybody's going to benefit. Everybody's going to have money spent on their business. They're gearing up for employees. We talked today about the big, beautiful bill that we passed in Congress that makes tax cuts permanent, cuts regulations for banks, but also allows no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, which a lot of folks in the restaurant business around here will be serving food and so forth. People will earn more money, so and when they earn more money, we spend more money. That's the way it is here in America. So there's a lot of excitement around here, but we wanted to come hear the story, hear how the story is going to work, answer their questions if they have any questions, to see basically how capitalism works. You work and you spend, and businesses grow. And you know, this country, as you know, Jack, you reported on it before, was based on you know, risk and reward, and that's what America's about, and that's what's happening right here this weekend.
Got to ask you about the March 3rd primary. Everybody's talking about the Senate race. Democrats have settled theirs for now. They have their Democratic nominee, but Republicans, as you know, they have a runoff. Senator Cornyn versus Attorney General Ken Paxton. Did you remain neutral? Do you think President Trump should remain neutral or get involved and make an endorsement in this race? And how concerned are you about the impact of that on Republicans in general here in Texas?
Well, endorsements in the political arena, you know, are something that comes and goes and so forth. That's kind of an individual thing. Both of Senator Cornyn and General Paxton are friends of mine. I've known them for years. I was even Senator Cornyn's one of his finance guys when he started running years ago. So we're friends. I stayed neutral in it because I was on the ballot with them and so forth. So we'll see, have the runoff, and we'll see what happens. Texas is going to be in the center of attention again, as you said. Whether President Trump should endorse or not, that of course certainly is up to him. I'm glad he endorsed me and so forth. But what he will do in the Senate race, I don't know. I'm not privy to that. But we'll see. He may not endorse either, and Texas will then be allowed to come up and then run off to vote and speak and see which person they want to represent them in the Senate.
How concerned are you that, you know, Paxton supporters or Cornyn supporters not going to be happy, depending on who wins, that they stay home in November?
Well, people talk about that, but this race is so important that we keep control of the Senate. I don't think people are going to stay home because one of their Republicans didn't get the nomination. Texas is not turning blue, in spite of what a lot of people want to say. Texas will, whoever's the nominee, will win in November against the Democrat. I firmly believe that. And Republicans and conservatives and business people will show up will show up and vote, and because that's their voice. And I think we understand that in Texas.
A lot of this race now, the runoff, centers on the SAVE Act.
Yeah.
You supported it in the House, and now we'll see what happens in the Senate.
Well, it's huge. The Save America Act, which says you have to be a citizen to vote. Pretty simple. It's hard to imagine anybody wouldn't want to support that, but we did pass it out of the House and see where it goes in the Senate. A lot of conversation on how it should be presented or whatever. Leader Thune's got to come up with a way so it can be presented and we can win. It's a game changer for America. I mean, I think we all agree, if you're not a citizen, you shouldn't be able to vote, for crying out loud. I mean, you got to show who you are wherever you go. We can talk forever about how you have to show ID to get into certain things and so forth. And it ought to be, if the most precious right we have is voting, and you ought to be able to, you should be a citizen before you're allowed to vote. So I think we've got to get it passed. It's critical legislation, and we're all working really hard to make sure that happens.
Are you talking to any senators about it? There are some senators that are not for it on the Republican side,
Yeah, I mean,
from what I've read.
to be honest with you, I'm not talking to them. I mean, I know where I am. I know where the House is. We passed it, and I hope that they'll wake up and understand that this is a precious right in America. People have lost their lives over making sure you have the right to vote, but we need legals voting, not illegals.
We have the DHS shut down, the Department of Homeland Security shut down, and we've now seen TSA agents quitting because they're not getting paid, and long lines at certain airports. Houston had a big problem with it, other airports across the country. And so how long is this going to go on for, and what is the exit strategy to make this go away and get this funded?
Well, first of all, this is the Democratic shutdown. I mean, they're trying to protest ICE. ICE has already been funded. ICE has been funded, so they're holding up the airport security, some of our military, holding them hostage over some that's already funded. It doesn't make sense, but it's just all political. We need to go ahead and get Homeland Security, the rest of the parts of that funded, so we can get back and people get paid and America can work again. I flew in yesterday from Miami. I had an event down there, and the lines are beginning to get longer, and TSA's struggling and doing a good job, but they're having a hard time keeping up because people may not be coming to work. They're not getting paid. We got to fix that. It's simple. If you know, Save America is what it means. Save America, the right to be an American and vote, and let your vote be heard by legal people that can prove who they are.
Democrats want changes to ICE after we saw the 2 deadly shootings in Minnesota. What do you say to that? Why are they wrong, in your opinion?
Well, I don't know if it's a right or wrong thing, but not allowing America to operate, as we talk about that, I think is wrong. And again, you said it, they're focused on ICE. ICE is already funded.
But they want changes into how it's actually, you know, how they carry out their functions.
I don't have any problem with changes. I mean, every industry goes through changes. I mean, regardless of what industry you're in, you can make things, get them improved, but you don't shut the industry down and so forth. So, you know, there's some changes they want. There's probably some changes that should happen, but you don't shut it down, don't shut others down to pay that price. I think we need to open it up. We need to talk about it, negotiate, and see how we can make it better.
Well, hasn't that been going on?
It's going on and nothing's happening. I'm as frustrated as anybody, but I would hope that when we go back to D.C. this next week, that we can find a way to make that happen and open it up and get back to doing business and taking care of the people that work so hard for us.
The Iran war is going on. The president says it's going very well. Do you agree with that? And how concerned are you about oil prices that have spiked and gas prices that have spiked?
Well, I think we've been at war now for 10 days. We've devastated them from the reports that we get and the reports that we get being in Congress. Look, we can't have an Iran with a nuclear weapon. I mean, death to Israel, death to America, and it goes on and on and on, and finally you can only take so much. They were getting close to being able to use one of those weapons. I think we did exactly the right thing going in there and keeping them from being able to use that. Nobody wants a prolonged confrontation, so I hope that we begin to see an end and an exit strategy, which I think we will soon, and so forth. But I believe it was totally the right thing to do at the right time.
I know there's been this conversation of, you know, the president campaigned against forever wars. So how do you balance between, you know, a long drawn out conflict at the same time balancing out finishing the job that you started?
Well, and that's a tough decision, and you know, when you make that decision, you don't want to err. You don't want to err on the side of our country. We want to make the right decision. What's good for America? Well, frankly, what's good for the world. These people were ready to destroy the world. So those are tough decisions that you make at tough times. But I think the quicker we can get in, the quicker we get out, it's going to be a lot better. And get a government in there that can operate that country and get it back to where it's reliable and not a total enemy of everybody in the world.
There was a terror attack in New York City over the weekend. 2 teenagers now are facing federal terrorism charges. What do you make of that?
Well, it's again, what gets in these people's head to do something like that? These are young kids, 17, 18 years old. What prompted them to do that? Fortunately, the bomb didn't go off. We had New York police right on top of it, doing what they needed to do. So it was we able to dodge a real problem on that. But I don't know what's in these young men and women's heads, these protesters, some of the things they say. They live in the greatest country in the world called the United States of America, the greatest opportunity in the world, the greatest opportunity to be able to succeed. So it's hard to figure it out. I do think that a lot of this comes from the loss of the family unit. When we all were growing up, families spent time together, but we've lost that family unit now. There's no people, a lot of people don't have anybody to look up to. And I think that's a real problem. That's a long-term fix, but we do need to get back to that. And you mentioned about the oil prices. I didn't respond to oil prices. I think we're seeing an uptick in oil price, but I think when this thing settles down, they'll settle back in, and people will see some relief at the pump. Still a lot better than when Joe Biden was president.
Well, the president announced, I guess now he favors oil reserves being released.
Mm-hmm.
What impact do you think that'll have?
I don't know that it will have a heck of a lot of impact. I mean, but it will have some. But the fact of the matter is, nobody wants to tap our reserves. That's not in anybody's game plan to tap the reserves to help fuel prices. But I think we have so much availability here. The world is beginning to buy our product, and we buy theirs, and we're not paying cost for it. We're not paying sticker price for it. So I think it's going to settle in, and price at the pump will get back where people are used to frankly, the last year upon the Trump coming in as president.
Last topic, and that was there's talk of a second reconciliation bill in D.C. Is that something you support? And what is the agenda for Republicans this year?
Yeah, well, we're talking about if we can do reconciliation, get to where 51 votes and pass some things that we need to pass and make permanent. So that conversation's ongoing and so forth. And again, we're going to have a time we're going to have to make a decision. A lot of support for that. I think that the end game for Republicans and conservatives is to remind everybody what we've done under Trump. I mean, look, we made tax cuts permanent. We've cut regulations drastically. We've saved community banks. Got 100% expensing if you're a business owner. We're doing great things with CTE programs to train plumbers, welders, carpenters, nurses, mechanics, and those kind of things. So we got to remind them that what we're doing works. And don't forget, you and I talked about that off camera. People are going to start getting a large return on their tax bill. There will be cash in the bank for them. They'll go out and spend. There'll be a lot of influx in capital in our country. So we got to tell them everything that we've done the Democrats couldn't do. The Democrats have no response. We have a response. We just responded to some of those things. And I think we're on the right track. And I think come April, when people begin to see the money, they'll say, hey, this is going to work. I like this.
But if you had a choice for a second reconciliation bill, what would you want in there?
Well, there's some things. I mean, we want to we want to make sure we make some things permanent, to codify them as we talk about it. We got to talk about what that is and how that will work. But you could, again, making sure that people vote like that they're supposed to vote, they're legal to vote. You can put all that in there. But it's a potpourri of things right now everybody's talking about, because you want to make sure in reconciliation you put the right thing in there and get passed.
All right, we will leave it there. Congressman Roger Williams, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jack.
Good to see you.
Appreciate it.
We appreciate it.